Alright guys, Sergeant, I'm working on a new Xbox controller. This is for the Batman themed Xbox. You got to see that in the last video. I'll show you a quick shot of the Batman controller, but this is going to be a controller. Here we go, all clear coated. That's not polished, it's straight out of the gun. 2K automotive clear coat on there, so it's going to be exceptionally durable and super shiny. So enough with that right now. What I'm going to do, I've got this controller, got it all squared away, got it all got it all sanded down. I used a red Scotch-Brite on it, just standard Scotch-Brite. Used a tack rag on it to get rid of any residue. Wax and grease remover, but I'm not going to show you that because that's out in the garage. I forgot to grab it. Hopefully you can hear me okay over the fan. I have a bathroom fan down here in the shop now that I'm using for extraction. Well, not really extraction, but filtration really. Just a bathroom fan. I got to get it wired to the switch, and then I'm actually going to run that tube over here to the window. I'm going to make new windows for that out of plexiglass. Yes, I know it's dirty. It's a shop. Leave me alone. But I'm going to make new inserts for that window out of plexiglass, and run a dryer vent out there to actually vent any overspray outside. But what I'm going to do right now, I don't want my paint failing, so I'm going to take some Duplicolor adhesion promoter, and this can's almost empty, but I've used this for a lot. This is like $8. I got it, I think, at Pet Boys just down the street from me. Literally, I can see Pet Boys from my house just down the street. So I'm going to shoot one light coat of the adhesion promoter. That's it. That's really all you need. And this Duplicolor stuff dries really fast. You can probably see it drying on the video. And now we are ready for sealer. So stand by for that. I'll show you that. I'll show you the whole process. Why not? Alright. So the sealer coat. What am I going to use for that? I'm going to use a sealer gray. It's a special mixture I came up with. Just a mixture of dark and sealer white. Mix it up. Got that into a siphon feed airbrush. This is my Vega 2000 0.5 needle nozzle setup on it. And we're just going to lay down some sealer on here. Spraying lightly. Going to do a couple of coats. And once this sealer is cured, guys, I'm actually going to take a gray Scotch-Brite, standard gray Scotch-Brite, and I'm going to sand this sealer down smooth. Because I can still see some scratch marks from the red Scotch-Brite in the controller, but I want to make sure those are all gone. And the sealers, they're not a high build like a primer would be, but they will build enough to fill in minor scratches. I'm using the new 4012 or W500 high performance reducer with this, so I know this paint film is going to be strong. This new reducer, if you're a wicked AutoAir or Createx illustration guy, You gotta, if you don't have some yet, you gotta get some. This new reducer is awesome. I love it. And I really think that's about it as far as the sealer goes. Looks good to me. I'm actually gonna go ahead and move the camera out of the way. That way I can just check all angles, make sure this is all completely covered. Let that set up probably for about an hour or so with a fan on it. Make sure it's completely cured, sand it down, and then we're ready for color. Alright, so it's been about an hour since I sprayed the sealer on the controller. And I've had a fan going down here in the shop, just a little small double window fan that's in a wooden frame. Not pointed directly on it, just enough to circulate air in the shop. And looking at it, and you know, I don't think I'm going to actually gray Scotch-Brite this one. It looks really good, looks really smooth. I don't think it's going to need the gray Scotch-Brite. I could go over it just for good measure, but you know, I kind of like the way that looks. So I think I'm going to leave it, and I'll just tack cloth it, just make sure there's no dust on it, and then we're beyond the color. So stand by. Alright, so here's how I'm cutting out all the graphics for this Batman Xbox case. This is my Silhouette Cameo. It's a 12-inch cutter. This is vinyl paint mask. Comes in a roll. Actually comes in a 24-inch roll, but I have my science supplier cut that down to 12 for me. So it's normally a 24-inch roll by 30 feet long, but I cut it down to 12, so I get actually 2-inch rolls by 30 feet. So I have 60 feet total at 12 inches width. So I'm just going to pop this up. Going to load up my paint mask. Load media. Real simple. Just a button on the side of the silhouette there. And I know my desk is dirty. Leave me alone. So there we go. Here's the Silhouette Studio software. I already grabbed my graphic. I already have it vectorized really and ready to cut. But since I have to cut 12 inches wide, I don't know how well you can see that, but you know, that graphic is really small. If I click on it, it tells me it's about 2 inches wide and just over 1.5 inches tall. So I'm actually going to cut a few of those, and I'm going to go ahead and also recut. You saw on the other controller that honeycomb logo. I'm going to go ahead and cut 1 or 2 of those. So give me a minute to get that set up, and then I will show you the cutting process. Alright, so it's all set up to cut. All I really have to do is hit the cut button over there on the software, but I'm going to go ahead and open up the cover and let you guys watch this thing cut. Just to give you a quick overview, if you're not familiar with what a plotter is, what it does, it cuts things out, really. Vinyl. This one will cut vinyl, cardstock, paper, thin stencils, mylar. In here is a blade, and that blade just moves up and down. So basically, think of it like a printer. Ink, not using ink, it's using a blade. And right in there is where the blade is housed. And you can barely see it protruding right there. If I can get this thing to focus. There we go. You can barely see that thing protruding right there. But that's how it cuts. So we're going to load that back up. And we'll let this fire away at cutting. And that's it. Now we just got to unload it. And then the fun task of weeding it. So there's our 3 robins. I put 3 of them on there. And then I'm making 2 more of the honeycombs.
What you want?
Control after clear coat.